Hey everybody, welcome to another Stamp and Stencil Savvy. So for December, the concept is the crayon resist. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for this using a old, close to my heart stamp set, and it is ornaments. I'm going to be using this ornament, and I'm just going to be using a really easy, bought it from Walgreens, your local drugstore, pack of crayons. And I'm just going to show you how I'm going to create a resist for a few of these ornaments. The first thing that you should do is get a good archival black ink and really um, ink up your stamp. And so in my case, you guys know my favorite archival black ink is the Close to My Heart, and it's not available anymore, and we don't talk about that. Just like we don't talk about Bruno, we don't talk about the fact that I can't get my ink anymore. And then you really need to let this dry. So because I don't have the time to let it dry, I'm going to kind of wave it in the paper in the air a little bit, like I just don't care. So I've got two of those, and that is the stamping part of this. And then we're going to wave this, we're going to blow it, and I'm going to talk to you about what we're going to do. So I have one that's already done, if I can find it. And basically, what you do is you color in either white crayon, or I did green crayon on this, and then you go over it with an ink, and then you use a paper towel to wipe the ink off the crayon, and that's basically the resist. So it kind of adds a little color where you want it. So I'm going to do two that look like this, and then I'm going to do one that's green ink with red. So I'm using the red crayon, if I can find it. Nope, those are all orange. See if I can find the red crayon. Red. The green crayon and the white crayon. The real key is you have to get 100% coverage of where you want the white to be, because that's really the key to making sure the resist works. So I'm going to, for all of them, I'm going to use white in the middle, and you just have to really, really, really push down, and you can see it's not quite dry. So, but this is one of those do as I say, not as I do situations where you really need to wait for it to dry and kind of sit it aside. And you need to be really sure that you have done a full coverage in white. Now the white's hard because you can't see it. So you almost need to do more than you think you need to do in the white. So at this point, I'm putting you on fast forward because I decided that listening to me talk while I colored probably wasn't the content you came here for. Or maybe it was. But as you do this, you really have to kind of go over it with your white crayon or your whatever crayon you're doing and try to get the most coverage you can. That is the most important thing. The other thing is to really push down hard and make sure you have that there. It is very hard to see the white. It's easier to see the other colors. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do both a color and a white on here. Obviously, the effect comes through the best when you use the white crayon on white paper, because then you're going to kind of get that really cool kind of clear look like you see on that very first ornament. You could use a lot of different things here, but to me, this is one of the fun things to do. If you wanted to use a stencil, that's another thing you could do. If you wanted to get the stencil resist look, you could use a white crayon on your stencil and then ink over it. So that's opposed to getting the opposite side of the stencil. That's kind of a way to get the reverse effect of a stencil, is to use a white crayon or a crayon in the stencil and then ink over the waxy crayon and resist that off. So that's another option. For this one, I am just coloring, and you can see I'm just coloring as it's a speedy little coloring, isn't it? Because, I'm doing it, I think, in about 3 times speed right now. So this did take a little bit of time to put together. But once I did that, then what I did is I took my just some foam pads with my 2 different inks, and I'm still using close to my heart inks. These are the ones that I have. I don't have a lot of inks in my kind of. I have a couple close to my heart. I have a couple of Ranger, and then mainly I use Distress Oxides. So see that you saw that kind of. Oh, that was kind of cool to watch that in high def. But then you saw it kind of come together. Then the last thing I did is because I wiped off some of the green crayon, I went back over that, but that one turned out really, really cool. And then I'm going to do the green one also, and this one's going to turn out cool as well. That clover ink is just a really kind of fun, grassy green, if you like that look. So that was fun, and this one also turns out super pretty. So I've got those 3 ornaments. Now, what I'm going to use these for, and that's the last thing you're going to see, is I'm going to make a kind of a page for my December daily that is a foundation page that I may or may not use. And I could just leave it and use it next year. But when I do my December daily, I do 8x10s, the 8x10 album of Ali Edwards. And I like to have just some foundation pages made up. And so this one, I'm going to create a foundation page on this star paper and kind of hang the ornaments. So you're going to see me do that. I'm going to use some gold washi tape to create the strings. I'm going to pop one of the ornaments up, and I'm going to tell you, these ornaments really do pop on this page, and it's a lot of fun to see. I was hesitant on whether or not I was going to like this technique, but if you remember that kiss technique I did, I think it was last month, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm falling in love with it. This is another one where super easy way to get kind of all over color on a stamp and get the white parts. Like I used to have to do like washi tape and mask off sections. I think coloring is a lot easier than masking off. So if you have some white crayons, I had to go buy white crayon because I didn't have any. But if you have white crayons in your stash, I think this is a great way to use it. Now I wanted to kind of have some gold like top to these ornaments. I just fussy cut or just cut a little piece of gold on each top of them. They're not great. Probably if I go back and use this page, I will trim those up and make those work a little bit better. But the last thing that I'm going to do is add some stickles. I'm showing you here stickles, and of course it is full up and I can't find the needle I use to pierce the top. So I have to I'm looking, I've got my Tim Holtz blade and it's not right. Now I got to find my Tim Holtz little poker. I finally find it, and then I'm going to get my ink out, and now I'm going to be able to stickle these, and I'm going to add just a little bit of stickle to those dots on every one of them, and that's just going to end it up. So I love how this turned out. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next time when we do another stamp or stencil technique. So here is my resist ornaments. I have stamped on them and rubbed off where the crayon was. I used them to make a December daily foundation page. Not sure what I'm going to do here. Probably put a picture of my tree or maybe some journaling, and it'll be on the other side. Will be a picture of the tree or some of the new ornaments. But fun way to use washi, stamps, crayons. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next month when we start a brand new year of Stamp and Stencil Savvy. Thanks, everyone.